Hello, good evening. Hello. Motimenka,
Good. Anne.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
You can hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
But I don't know for the others.
Okay. The others, can you hear me? Elizabeth, please, can you hear me? Romeo, please, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, all right, all right. Okay. So good evening once again. As you guys know already, Fearfully Ugly this, and today we are coming to continue what and that's where we ended the last time. So, and in my preceding class, the previous class, I ended at solving errors through a 2 by 2 matrix, like 2 1 1. So I gave an assignment for best 16 billion, but I've decided to move on. If 1 year, we are fine. If so, even if the exams never and the exams is online, no will be fair. Me say me the work man I me if it's face to face so I me. If it's online, so now send it we ma me say me ma me you know, and so and this is the 3 by 3. So here is so basically with here they are solving the error with a 3 by 3 matrix. So who can tell me this? Who can tell me this? Come here. In a 2 by 2 matrix, what is the identity? Who can tell me how the identity looks like? Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, please. In a 2 by 2 matrix, how does the identity look like?
Is it 1001?
Yes, 1 0 0 1. This is for a 2 by 2 matrix. So this is for a 2 by 2 matrix. This is for a 2 by 2 matrix. So okay, thank you. So when Romeo, I've seen it, thank you. So when it comes to a 3 by 3 matrix, this is the identity 1 0 0 0 1 0 and then 0 0 1. So when it comes to a 3 by 3 matrix, our aim is to change whatever is in the matrix to look like this. And then we'll be able to get our values for the x1, x2, and then x3. So once you're able to change the matrix into an identity matrix, you'll be able to get your x1, x2, and x3. So that's it. So in a 2 by 2 matrix, your aim is to change it to look like this. And in a 3 by 3 matrix, your aim is to change it to look like this. That's it. So let's continue. So this is a similar 3 by 3 matrix. And you remember who can remember what did I say in the previous video? That if you want to make the ERO look easy for you, what are you to change first?
The zeros.
Yes, you have to change for them to look like the zeros first, right? So you can see from the solvings in the book. What's the only thing I don't this book and I said this slide is doing that I don't like. The only thing I don't like in this slide is they are not specifying the rows that they are working for. So it's here, they were working for row 1. They were working for row 1, but they didn't specify. So row 1. We here they were working for row 1. Row 1, right? And then they came down to work for and then now they came down to work for, oh, let me see. Okay, they were still working for row 1 again. So they still work for row 1 here. Row 1 here again. And then now they came to work for row 2. So you can see from here, they changed the row 1. They changed the zeros first, as you can see from here. You see, they are using the same similar strategy, the same thing. So and then now they came to change this 0. And then after changing this 0, they move on to change another 0. So first of all, what you need to do first is to change the zeros. Let me see whether I can create an example B so that we solve together. So let's see. 4x1 plus 6x2 plus x3 equal to 17. And then let's take it like x2 plus 3x3 equal to 10. And then let's take it x3 is equal to 7. So let's formulate this. Let's augment this. So we can augment 4, 6, 1, and then 17. Then we have 0. 0 is supposed to be about question. In 3 minutes, they want you to get your own listing. They want to see whether you understand or you don't understand. So 0 is always there. 1, and then 3, and then 10. And then here it will be 0, and then 0. So this one will be 0, 0, 1, and then 7. So this is how the equation look like. I'm coming. 4, 6, 1, 17, 0, 1, 3, 10, then 0, 0, 7. All right. All right. So let's solve this. All right. So what do you think should be the first thing we will do? Hi. So let's change rule 1. Okay. So changing rule 1, we are changing the zeros, right? First of all, let's change this into 0. So let's change this to the 6 and 1 into 0. So let's change the 6 and 1 into 0. So now, first, let's change this one. This. Let's change this one. So now we are working on row 1. Let's work on row 1. So row 1, and you give your arrow sign, meaning you are working on row 1. So row 1 should be equal to, if you want to change this 6 into 0, then it means you have to multiply row 2 by 6 and then divide it and then subtract it from row 1. So now it will be row 1 minus 6 row 2. Because we want to change this one into 0. So we need to multiply the row 2 by 6 before we can change it into 0. So changing it. So row 1, 4. 6 times 0, 4. 6 times 0 is still 0, and then 4 minus 0 is 4. So quickly, first of all, what you always do first is you first write the rows that you are not dealing with down first. You just need to write them. We are only working on row 1, so we need to only leave row 1 out and then write the rest. So here will be 4. And then 6 times 1 is what? 6. 6 minus 6 is what? 0. And then 6 times 3 is what? 18. 18 minus 1 is 17. Okay. 1 minus 17 will be negative. A 1 minus 18, because it's row 1 minus row 2. So negative 17. And then 6 times 10 is 60. 60 minus 17. 17 minus, so it will be negative 43. Are you following? Are you following?
Yeah, yes, please.
So now we've been able to change here to 0. We've been able to change this 6 to 0. We've been able to change this 6 into 0. So our focus now is to change this 17 into 0, right? So if we want to change 17 to 0, this negative 17 to 0, then it means that we need to multiply, we need to let find a way that this thing, this 17 can subtract this 3 here and then get 0. So what we need to do now is just multiply row 1 by 3. We multiply row 1 by this 3, and we multiply row 2 by this 17. We'll be able to get it. So let's do this. You see, say, just watch this carefully. I didn't leave this question anyway. I just created an example here. But you will see that you will be working with it, and then it will come out successfully. So look at it here. Thanks. So we are working only on row 1, so we need to write the rest of the rows down. Oh, if you can say, let me indicate, say, we are working on row 1. Row 1. And then we are multiplying. So row 1, no, 3 times row 1. 3 row 1 plus 17 row 2. The reason why I brought the plus is because row 1 is already in negative. So if we are to subtract it again, it will not yield the correct thing. So unless we add it, so you know that negative plus positive will give us 0, and as a positive figure or something, depending on it. But here is the case, we want to change it to 0. So this is how we are supposed to do it. So let's quickly write row 1 and row 2 down. 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, and then 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 3, and then 17. So we are still working on row 1. So 3 times row 1. So 3, 4, 12. 12 plus 17 times 0 is still 0. So 12 plus 1, 1, the 0 here will still be 12. Right? And then the second side too is 6. It is, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm seeing some glitchy. 4, 6, 1. So now if I multiply row 3, row 1 by 3, which is 6. And then, so now I'm going to row 1, but that is 0. I need to do 3 times 0, which is 0, plus okay, let me do it that way. Okay. So 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 17, which is 17 times 1. Come, let me take a calculator. Okay, that will give us 35. And then we have 3 times 17. 51. So 51, here will be 51. Negative 51 plus 51 here. So here is now 0. And then 3 times we be 30. 30 plus 17. No. Where then 43 negative 43 times. Negative 43 times 3. Where 129. Let me write it somewhere. 129 minus 17 times root 2, so 170 plus 170. So negative 129 plus 170. Negative 129 plus 170. That's about 41. Okay. But me cleaning the iron, me church or workings we can be. Okay. So now I've been able to change this one to 0, but we about back to a number view. So I'll come back to it. Okay. Let me do the other ones first. So I want to change here to 0. So since I want to change it to 0, three, oh, I can say 0, 3. I'm changing row 2. So row 2 will be row 2 minus 3 row 3. So row 2. But just know that you don't always have to start from row 1. You can't. The best way to do is to start from where will be easier for you. If I were to start this question, I wouldn't start from changing row 1, because changing row 1 first will be somehow confusing. So if you start from changing, you see here already has zeros. Here also have 1 0. So just change it. So once you're able to get it, you'll be able to get it so simple. So I'm coming. So now what am I doing? So I say I want to row 2 minus 3 row 3, because I want to change here to 0. So I have to multiply here by 3 before it can subtract from this 3, and then I'll get 0. So that's what I want to do now. So let me quickly write the result. 12, 35, 0, 41. I'm changing row 2, so I'll leave row 2 there. So 0, 0, 1, and then 7. That's the ones that are. So now 0, 0 minus 0, 3 times 0 is 0, and then 0 minus that 0 is still 0. So I have it here. So 1 times 1 is there, 1 is here. 1 minus 3 times 0 is still 1. And then 3 is here. 3 times 3 minus, so 3 minus 3, 1. So 3 minus 3 is what? 0. So here. So here has been completed. So now I need to change here. I need to change here to look like here. So, sorry, Kawi. So here is 10. 3, 7, 21. So 10 minus 21 is what? Negative 17. Please, do you get it up to this point? Please, do we get it up to this point? And our 4 be any so.
I have a
I have a bro any so. The reason here economy chair is because of say I was starting from row 1 because one of our colleagues here started from row 1. But when it's starting from row 1 will be somehow plenty. So yeah, row 1 but my cost starting my stance about back to changing row 2 because simple from here I bet mommy in time to move to the next one. That's why.
But row 1 no unsa baby a wonya 35 no it was already you can yan 0 dada. And I start changing to 35.
Yeah, it was because we were changing the other one. In the process of changing the other one, I sound back to 35. Until I'm actually no sisi no, me kwaya other rules, me ban no sisi ya. Or you see say you be call sisi ya.
Okay.
All right. So this year we are come to change row 1. Row 1. So just look at this and think critically. Say, how can we make here 0? How can we make here 0? We can make here 0 by what? Multiplying row 2 by 35 and then subtracting it from it. You get it? So now it will be row 1 is equal to row 2. Row 1 minus 35 times row 2. So it will be like this. Row 1 minus 35 Do you get it? Because we want to change this. We want to change here, this 35 to 0. So the only best way you can change 35 to 0 is subtracting 35 from 35. So how can we do that? We have to multiply this particular place by 35 before we can get 35. So that's when we will subtract it from it. You understand? So that's what I am coming to do now. So let me write, we are doing row 1. So let me write row 2 and row 3 down. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. And then negative 17 and then 7. Negative 17 and then 7. So row 1 minus 35 row 2. So 12 minus 35 times 0 is still 12 because here will be 12 and then 35 times 0 is still 0. So 12 will be here. So now 35 times 1. 35 minus into bracket 35 times 1 is still 35. So here we will get 0. And then 35 times 0 minus 31 times here, so we will still get 0. And then 41 minus, let me use the calculator to do this. So 41 minus into brackets 35 times negative 17. It will be 636. 636. Right. So this is it. So now we want to change here to 1 right now. So how do we do that? If we want to change here to 1, then we'll do row 1 divided by 12. That's when we can change here to 1. So 12 divided by 12 is 1. 0 divided by 12 is 0. Here 2 will be 0. And then 636 divided by 12, 53. And then 0, 1, 0, negative 17. And then 0, 0, 1, 7. So therefore, x1, x2, x3 is equal to 53, negative 17, and then 7. Okay. So now we've been able to find the value of this one. So always, you see, it doesn't necessarily mean say you always start from row 1. It doesn't always mean say you always start from row 1. Because if I were to start from row 1, can you see, so I will end up changing them. The same thing, if you've realized what I just did. Have you realized what I just did? Say, when I started from row 1, I first changed here to 0 pill, but in the end, it came back to what? It came back to being what? 35 again. And do you know the reason why? This figure, this one here, is affecting it. It was this figure and this one here. One way, and the 35 sounds back. So always, if you want to change the one that below it is 0. So for example, if nanka has a 5, right? We change if this one was like 5. We change 1 now. Because of has a 0, it will be difficult to say the 0 will affect it. You understand? Maybe if you are doing row 2 minus row 3, because here it's already 0, and you are looking, it will be very difficult for you to affect it. But if say, you shouldn't be always starting from row 1. You can start from any row, anywhere, just for you to get your answer. But just follow the principles that you can only add a row to a row. You can only subtract a row to a row, from a row. And you can only multiply or divide a row by a scalar. That's this thing that you have to keep in mind. And please, do we get it? Anayara. Still. Is there any question? Okay. Elizabeth, please, is there any question?
For now, yeah, I think it's okay. But when the recording comes, maybe I'll go through and then get it clear. But you must continue.
It's okay, because I'm done with today's class. That's why I just wanted to teach this.
Okay, then go over it again and then go over like one more time and let me catch it again.
Okay.
So that I can be able to solve it on my own when I feel it.
Okay. So looking at it here, this is the question. Looking at it here, this is the question. This is maybe after formulating, this is what we got. Right? So we have to formulate this, we have to augment this into matrix. So after augmenting, then we'll start solving. So this is what we augmented to look like this. This is what we augmented to look like this. Right? Because we have 4 here, the 4 is here, the 6 is here, and there is 1 behind this coefficient. So the 1 is also here, and then this is the 17. And then here there was nothing here, sorry. There was nothing here. But since it's a three variables, here is automatically 0. That's why I brought the 0 here. So here too will be 0 plus 0 plus x3 is equal to. That's why we're also seeing it here like that. Oh, sorry. That's why we're also seeing it here like that. As you can see from here, this 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 3, and then, so the same thing. So from here, we wanted to change row 1 first. Right. So after solving the row 1, and I sat down to, you say I told you, say, this thing, it doesn't matter whether one. You have to sit down, think, look at it, and then critically analyze before you can get it. So it doesn't mean say I've been always solving an answer, I'm teaching it so automatically I should be getting it fast. No. This thing, it will need time for you to, each question, you need time to consume and then digest the question before you can. That's why after solving row 1, now if I'm dealing with row 1, then I do mean. So I need to calm down and then what? Change other rows before I'll come back to row 1. So after changing everything, I focused on row 1, and then I changed, I think here, this side to 0. So after changing that side to 0, and then now I focused on row 2. So I changed row 2, which was this 3, to 0. So from there, then I focused on row 1. So after doing everything before I came back to row 1, after doing everything before I came back to row 1, so you can see this 35 here, I changed this 35 to 0 by doing it row 1 minus 35 times row 2, because that's the only way. 35 minus 35 is the only thing that will give you 0. So I need to change here to 35. So by doing it, I have to, by doing that, I have to subtract. You get it? So that's how basically I arrive here. I arrive at this row 2 again, changing it. I don't know how to re-explain it again because I think the video, I will upload the video, so you will re-watch it. So tomorrow we will do another class. I'll go and then look for plenty questions pertaining this one. And then we will solve plenty questions on this. So maybe tomorrow we will solve like 3-4 questions on this topic, and then we will close it for this semester. So for this matrices and Kasade is the last one. After here, we are moving to linear equation. So the graphical method, that's what we are going to do. So tomorrow will be our last class on this. So any question you have, please gather it and then put it down. We will solve these questions like, I think 3, then we will end the class and I'll give assignments. Please, are you okay? I'm left with last 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay.